Hey, Nasu here. Today I'm going to start part 1 or part 2, depending on what I call the first one, of What If Deku Had Magic. In the last part, I ended it right before the entrance exam, as well as I never said who had One for All. I'm going to start with the entrance exam, and One for All will be told later in the video. So, I also never said something else, which is the name and the powers of the one who is going to replace Mineta. His name is Ender Valak. He is a half-demon from a dimension called Dimension 666, so basically the number of the devil. Basically he is pure of heart. His mother was a demon, basically a succubus. He is not, he doesn't have the same powers as her. Actually, he was born without the normal capacities of demons to basically do whatever it is that they normally do. Well, those demons precisely, because yeah, basically giving people sexual thoughts, as well as making them want to actually have. He doesn't have that. He has big black wings, long nails, and his hair are completely red. Well, red, the same color as blood. And his magics, he has 5, which is if I don't count the power to make magic inside of him, portals, and the magic shield, which those aren't counted. The 5 magics are fire magic, ice magic, life magic, so he can heal and stuff like that. He has eye modification, so Deku can modify his entire body. This guy, yeah, he can only modify the color of his eyes. And for body augmentation, it's on stamina. So he has the capacity to only increase it on himself or a target, compared to Deku, who has increase and decrease for both him and his targets, as well as all of the other things he has. So Deku's pretty powerful compared to the guy, because the guy basically got his powers like 2 years before the moment we are right now. Basically, they asked Deku to go look for someone that had a pure heart in that dimension, which is actually the reason the guy knows Deku most. And that's actually how, Deku entered. Well, basically, he's not the one who decided to go in. Well, they didn't decide to bring him. It's basically that one of the people there was actually tasked on going to look for some kids there that had the pure hearts. Um, come on. Yeah, sorry. Okay. Oh, fuck. Okay, yeah, so basically that's the reason. Deku wasn't really chosen, but he still entered. But this guy was literally chosen, and they told Deku to actually go take him. So that's why he knows Deku. Um, both of them were held. Well, yeah, held is the right word. Um, they were the hero that actually um, gives a pass to um, well, every kid that wants to go to UA that actually passed a great deal of time in the magic dimension or are well from dimensions but get to know this one and wants to go. He basically gives them a pass, well, a recommendation, but on the condition that they are still able to do the test. So yeah, Deku and Ender basically do it. Um, so Ender and Deku are going to be separated. I have to pause for a second. Sorry. Yeah, sorry about that. So Deku basically, well, Deku and Ender won't be in the same cities, but Deku is pretty intelligent. Well, on everything, he's literally the second most intelligent person on Earth if we don't count Quirk, which means, well, if we don't count intelligence quirks, I mean, which means he passes with flying colors. During that time, um, the other, well, Ender basically as well got a great score. Not this same amount. Be right back, I have to go. Okay, so, in the assembly, Bakugo and Deku are sitting right next to each other, but Bakugo doesn't remember Deku at all. Like, he remembers the kid back then that didn't have a quirk. Haha, super weak. He's sitting next to, well, Deku right now, who I think I forgot to say but changed his name simply because he didn't want to be associated with, well, Inko and Itachi, whatever. Basically, he didn't want to even have his own name. So basically, his family name, he basically took the same as Ender, so Valak. But for the, well, first name, the name he decided to take was pretty easy to remember. Well, let me just find it on my paper. Be right back. Sorry about that. Yeah, I have like two or three well, I created like 8 or 9 new names for different what ifs today, so it was kind of, I kind of just wanted to make sure it was the right one. He basically calls himself Light. So Light Valak, Ender Valak. Reason I had problem with that is because I have like 2 or 3 other character I created for different what ifs. One that will only come way later, another one that will come later but not as far. But yeah, so basically, he's sitting next to Bakugo. Since Deku really doesn't look the same, like he has scales, gills, and horns, compared to the kid with green that also had green hairs, but that didn't have a quirk. Also, Deku's hair are actually longer than in the anime. He actually has them around his shoulders. So yeah, that's also a factor that makes it even more impossible for Bakugo to think of Deku. Actually, Deku doesn't even associate with the name, with both names, Izuku or Midoriya. So basically, Deku doesn't really think of that kid as Bakugo because, well, he's not even interested in what's around him right now, only in what's being told in front of him. Valak is really impressed because Deku told him about everything here, while in his world it's, well, the dimension 666 is actually a dimension that actually has magic, gods, demons, dragons, and so on and so forth. But that doesn't really have technology. Basically, think of it as my leveling Deku world. They don't have that much technology. They still have some technology, but most people don't really know about it. It's basically the same thing for where he comes from, except that it's a world a lot smaller and basically just a lot different. So yeah. Um Ida still rants about the 0 pointer. President Mike tells him that, yeah, it's mostly because it's an obstacle and that it just gives you 0 points. Then he tells everyone where to go. Deku is still in the city A. Bakugo is still in his own city, and Ender is actually in city B. So, firstly, Deku does look around, sees Ochako how she's dressed. He doesn't go towards her, so Ida leaves him alone. Yeah, compared to the other ones where, because Deku talks back to him, in this one he didn't do it, so when he looked at someone, Ida didn't actually run towards him. Yeah, so President Mike starts counting, everyone gets ready. Ida is ready to run, while Deku's basically just, um, well, getting ready as well. And both of them kind of starts running at the same time. Reason is pretty easy, actually. The moment it says go, they just starts running. And Ida got surprised, because Deku's almost as fast as him. The difference of, well, a lot of things actually. Um, it's not that Deku isn't as fast as Ida. It's more that he's not running at full speed for two reasons. Firstly, he doesn't need to. He knows he can destroy many robots easily. And second reason is because of all that, basically everything under Quirk. He has fire, water, earth, light, poison, shadow, dark. He can increase his body. So yeah, he can basically go faster if he wants to. Um, so yeah, Deku could actually go in front of Ida, but he's just thinking he doesn't need to. The moment Deku arrives at some place where he doesn't have to absolutely, well, the moment he is like further ahead than anyone else except Ida, he basically stops running and just starts throwing light magic, basically making lasers, as well as fire magic, basically bombing the robots. Ida's just saw lasers and massive fireball just passing next to him, and he's been freaking out a bit because what the hell? He just thought that kid's not even being careful. He's going to hit me. When in reality, the only reason Deku isn't quote unquote careful is just because he doesn't really care. So yeah, that kind of doesn't. Well, he does make sure that he doesn't hit anyone, just to be certain to not lose points. So yeah, he kind of just shoots, destroys robots, make sure that other people have enough. Basically, he counts his points, and every time, the moment he arrives at around 150, he decides that he's just going to take it easy for now. So, just kind of stopping for a while. He just starts helping people. Like, if they get hurt, he uses life magic. If they have a problem, like let's say, kind of easy. Someone gets hurt. He basically just goes and helps them. For them, it's basically welcomed, since, he's helping them. Might as well take it. So, all of them are basically, everyone that gets healed basically feels really great afterward. Like, they're not just perfectly fine, they're better than they were before starting. full of energy, full of life. And basically, he gets a lot of points thanks to that. Until the 0 pointer is unleashed. When it gets unleashed, sorry, I have to pause. Sorry about that. So, yeah, the 0 pointer gets unleashed. The teachers were already all amazed by Deku. All Might was surprised that he never heard of that kid, or even ever seen something close to that amount of power in a kid. Like, if he would have known about this kid, he wouldn't have given it to that other girl. Yes, a girl. So, basically, the 0 pointer gets out. Everyone starts running away. In Bakugo's city, he basically tries to destroy it. Doesn't really works. Ender basically melts it. Like, he freezes the ground, freezing it there, and then he sends fire, and basically just keeps piling it on, like adding more and more and more over it. Until the robot basically breaks. For Deku, it's a lot different. Firstly, Deku, when he actually came to do it, so when he came to do it for him, he basically arrived, took the rubble off of Ochako, asked her if she was okay. He said yeah. She said yeah, but that her leg was broken. He healed her and told her to run. She asked Deku what he was going to do, and he just placed his hand on both sides. Well, basically, stretching his arm, and on both his arm, a ball of light and fire started forming. Well, both light and fire in both hands. And then he just said, like, outright, I'm destroying it. And basically closed his hand together in front of him. And a massive blast literally came out, taking off all of the upper half of the robots, actually even a bit more than that. And he basically just got scared. Well, everyone around got scared because that kid can heal. But not only that, he also, well, changed that giant robot from, well, robots to rubble. So, yeah. They're afraid of him. For the simple reason that he has the power to create, well, to heal and destroy. All of them were amazed, but scared because what if he actually used that power while we were around him? We wouldn't be surviving that hit. Actually, they didn't even know if they would be able to survive dot to the line if something like that even came close to them. So all of them were basically just, well, trying to get more points before it ends. Not a lot were able to get. Um, so Ochako basically at the end asked, well, Deku what his name was, which he said Light Valak. Which she was, well, asking him where his name came from. Well, where he came from to have a name like that. And he just said he comes from really far away, and that he doesn't like to talk about it. So she basically just went with it. No, they will not end up together. He's going to end up with someone else. Um, so in the end, basically, the hero that used magic that basically recommended both Deku and Ender basically said that he's going to take those letters when it is, well, when they get told about it, which Nezu accepted because, it would be best if someone they know actually delivered it, simply because they don't know where the hell they live. So yeah. After a while, they basically received the letter. The hero brought it to them. Um, both of them were accepted. Both of them in Class 1A. So Ender is literally replacing Mineta. So yeah, no Mineta in this one. That dwarf is gone. Sorry. But yeah, basically, um, the day of the entrance, they basically go there. Well, the first day they go there. When they enter the class, first thing that happens is Ida basically talking to Bakugo in the same way. Then Ida looking at Deku and Ender, and basically asked, well, went to both of them, saying that they are powerful. They got two of the best cores. Which Bakugo was annoyed that he didn't get first place, and that this kid basically got it instead of him. Deku just said that he was happy to actually have even been in the top 10, which Ida basically tells him, top 10? You got the highest score. Nobody got even close to you except your brother. Basically then looking at Ender and saying, you do have the same last names, right? That's what I saw in the, on the letter. Which they basically say yeah, since both of them were kind of, well, taken in by, in Dimension 1. So they kind of just acted as brothers, and nobody even really minded that because, yeah, they kind of do look like they could be. Like, they look like twins practically, in, when it comes to their size and stuff like that. And it looks as if both of them had mutation quirks that basically made them different. One with demon wings and the other one with dragon scales. um, Deku was looking around and spotted one person that he was intrigued in. Because he felt a lot of power coming off of her, but he didn't know why she would have that much power. He basically is looking at her, and she knows he's looking at her. She's looking at him back, like just thinking that must be the kid All Might was talking about, since they weren't in the same cities. And All Might basically told her that a kid with red purple scales basically had the highest score and was pretty powerful, and that if he would have known about him, he would have probably gave one fault to him. So they were basically checking each other out, and Deku was just thinking, antennas, pink hair and skin, and black eyes, and basically thinking that she was cute. So yeah, Mina. Mina basically asked him, well, after a small amount of time, well, what he was looking at, and basically he just changed his hair color to pink and said, well, I like your hair. Which she kind of blushed a bit. Which Ender basically hit Deku in the back like really hard. Basically pushing him almost to the wall, but he was able to keep, well, standing. Which everyone basically asked if he was okay, and Deku basically just said, "What? Why wouldn't I be okay?" He just gave me a nudge on the back. With all of them just telling him, a nudge? You went backward. That's not a nudge. That was a full-on hit. Which he said, a nudge, a hit. Same thing, right? With everyone just looking at him saying, no? And him just thinking, oh well, doesn't matter. Simply because, well, he doesn't care. Like, the one thing that happened was actually, well, that made him care, was basically Bakugo saying that, well, nobody else here is better than him. Deku asking him, oh yeah, and who do you think you are? And Bakugo basically just said, I'm the best around. My quirk is the best. And basically started making explosions in his hand. Basically bringing back Deku's memory of Bakugo. And Deku basically said, well, was about to say Kachan, but basically just said, Bakugo, is it? Basically his tone and the entire atmosphere in the room basically dropped. With everyone basically feeling it, even if they don't feel magic. Like, the aura that emanated from him just changed the entire way that the room felt. And everyone basically just got scared a bit, until Deku kind of realized what he was doing and basically started apologizing. And then Aizawa entered the class. So, Aizawa basically looks around and says that it took 8 seconds for them to shut up. It's not going to do. And that they're going to do a test. So, to meet him in the yard. Ochako basically tried to say the same thing as in the anime. That they need to go do something. With Aizawa saying that, well, he doesn't care about that, and that they're going to come do it, or they'll get in trouble. So what do they do? They go and change. Everyone sees on both Ender and Deku two things: a massive amount of muscles, even though Deku seem to have less muscle mass. He is a lot stronger, but in contrast to the different muscle mass, which Ender has more, Deku has less, even though Deku is more powerful. Deku also has a lot of scars on his body. Ender has some too, but not as much. Nowhere near as much. So they get outside. Minanda's not there. Aizawa explains what they're going to do for the test, throws the ball to Bakugo and tells him to throw it as far as he can using his quirk. Bakugo does it and gets about the same as in the anime. So then he explains, so Ochaku basically says it looks fun. Aizawa decided to put the same, the one with the lowest score loses. All will lose and be thrown out of UA. Deku, hearing the tone of voice, hears that he's serious, and basically doesn't think like Momo, that it's just, psychology to try and make them go all out. He basically he's serious, even though he doesn't take one out, but still. So, sorry. He goes against. Oh, they do all of these same tests, and firstly, Deku is able to do, sorry about that. But so since he has Earth control, he basically just lifts a part of the Earth for the jumping test. For the running test, he basically boosts strength, speed, and stamina, basically to the max that he can, and basically just runs faster than Ida. Ida basically not knowing how the hell that happened. Ender only being able to boost his stamina wasn't able to do anything. He was fast, but not even half the speed of Ida, so yeah. That. For the jump test, he can basically just fly with his wings. So after that we go to Okay, yeah, so after that we go to the side-to-side jump. Deku's able to do that easily, basically using fire to make explosions in his hands. Basically he can make fire from his entire body, but was just pushing himself from side to side. Ender basically did the same thing. Bakugo basically passed after them, saw how they decided to do it, and basically got the bright idea to copy them. So he basically did the same thing. After that, grip test. Deku didn't even need to augment his strength, and he basically crushed it easily. Ender basically kind of just um, went as far as he could. Didn't break it compared to Deku. Nowhere near to doing that actually. But still, after that we go to the ball throw, which this time is a lot different. Everyone basically still does the exact same thing that they did until we arrive to Ender and Deku. Ender first. He basically starts going to basically throw the ball and basically uses fire to just launch it as far as he could. Basically using a spell that Deku created, basically called Fire Snake, where you basically just make a snake fully made of fire and throw it, and it basically just keeps going in the direction you send it until the magic you put into it basically runs out. Which means that you basically threw it for a good amount of time, well, on a good distance, and it didn't. Well, it basically went at around 3 kilometers away, which everyone was impressed, except for Deku, who basically went close to Ender and said, "You know, you could have launched it a lot further than that, right?" With Ender telling him that he's sorry he doesn't have well, he wasn't able to use his Zit completely. He's sorry, basically trying to ask for forgiveness, which Deku just said, "I'm not punishing you, you know? I'm just saying that you could have went better." Then Bakugo just said that if he thinks that was weak, why don't he show doesn't he show them what he can do? Which Ender basically started laughing, with everyone just like looking around like, why is he laughing? Until Deku took the ball, placed himself and said, "You want to see what happens when I get serious?" And basically said, what he used is a downgraded version of what I can do. This is the Flying Dragon, and basically launched the ball, boosting his own body, stamina, and then launching the full brunt of the attack, basically launching the ball. And instead of making a snake behind the ball, it basically made a full freaking dragon in fire that launched the ball almost in space. It still went outside of what Aizawa's counter could go, so infinite basically that it made. But the ball didn't quit the Earth atmosphere for a while, and then it went back to the ground. Everyone basically was just looking at Deku like, what the hell are you? Which he then, well, Aizawa then looked at everyone and said, well, this is the lowest score, Toru. But nobody gets expelled. Go change back and meet me in class. With everyone just looking at him, mostly Deku. Then Momo said, well, it was just him saying that so that we would go all out. Which Deku then said, no, it wasn't that. With both eyes, with Momo basically saying, Why? That's literally what he just did. With Deku turning around and saying, I've heard too many people um, talking directly in a serious way. Everything that he did, the way he said it, he was dead serious about it. What we did basically made him change his mind. So, no, he didn't plan this from the start. With Aizawa just telling him, you're too intelligent for your own good, kid. But I like it. You're going to be a great hero if you're able to pass here. Which Deku then, well, with Momo then saying, what? But I'm more intelligent than this guy. With Deku basically looking at her and saying, how high are you on the intelligence? Well, on the list of most intelligent people without a quirk? Which he says, I don't know. Which he then says, I'm second. And the one above me is the one that taught me. I don't think you're more intelligent than me. Actually, I don't think anyone here is more intelligent. With everyone just looking at him like, wait, what? Which Aizawa asks him directly, um, the name, well, the full name, and the ID code that he had when he, well, before basically trying to do a test to see where he was. Which Aizawa then went and checked and just saw that, yeah, no, the kid's the second most intelligent person without an intelligence quirk around. Which everyone just kind of shot it after that about his intelligence because, yeah, no, he has it. Mina was impressed though because he's not only powerful, he's freaking intelligent about that. I'm going to end it here. Normally, I would have been supposed to do Attack Titan Deku, but I really need sleep, so I'm going to try and do it tomorrow. Sorry again about that. Hope you liked it. Leave a like if you did. Ask me anything in the comment section. I'm going to see what I can do to answer. And I'm going to leave a link to my Discord in the description. So come join us if you want to. Natsu, out!